is very interesting. What we're going to talk about is essentially why Bollywood and Indian film industry is going through this massive avalanche of flops. We are looking at roughly around this year alone, when as we are now hopefully in the post-pandemic world, for last 6 to 7 months, we are seeing a trend wherein number of Hindi films and maybe some other regional films are biting the dust. Just to let's put a whole perspective on this, let me give you a few names. Last 2 weeks, Ram Setu, thank God, both built as mega projects, built with the biggest actors, flopped miserably, losing close to 200 crores in the process, losses. Plus, we looked upon Samrat Prithviraj. We were looking at Lal Singh Chadda, Radhe Shyam, then Dhakar. Then we were looking at Shamshera. And even after that, the so-called big hit of Bollywood, which is Brahmastra, which according to me is an ultra-rotten film. But ultra-rotten film, possibly the worst film I've ever seen, was hailed as this big hit of Bollywood, which has broken all records. And we have reached a stage, guys, wherein, we are not told about the movie, but as in the north and west part of India, people are more interested rather than the content about the budget of the film. So Brahmastra, we knew nothing about the story, what it is. And I'll talk about the movie if MK sir allows me later in this discussion and tell you how legendary, pathetic this whole endeavor has been. And this comes from my sensibility of doing years and years of research on superheroes, interacting with people who have built these kind of franchises. But today, Raghavendra sir is going to talk about why Indian cinema is going through this churn wherein big movies are not finding audiences. The post-pandemic audience is very different than that was from the pre-pandemic audience. So MK sir, just guide us through what are the social, anthropological, and even industry-related reasons that why films are not getting audience in the theaters. Over to you, MK sir.
See, we're talking about Bollywood, right? Talking about Bollywood first.
Bollywood and some part of regional cinema as well.
Yeah, possibly. But I'll see my basic thing about Bollywood is 2 things. Okay, first, gradually Bollywood. See, there are no stars in Bollywood anymore. People have lost interest. We've seen all of them been in decline, except Salman Khan. Also now he's all probably in decline as well. What has happened is, last 3-4 years, none of them has had a hit. Amir Khan is not Amir Khan. It's Shah Rukh Khan. Okay, they've all been in some kind of they've not had hits, but they've been going along with their collecting monies on the past of that thing. And gradually, what has happened is, this is the obvious trivial explanation. Gradually, they've come to the conclusion that people are going to the movies to see them, right? You can't have 50% of the cost of the movie being used up by the film star. What exactly are these people bringing to the screen at all? What attractions are they bringing to the screen? We can't watch these people. They're all over the hill. Okay, there are stories they've run out of stories. See, that I think is a crucial thing. What has happened is that what are the kinds of stories? Let us look at the kind of stories that Bollywood is generally, put out. These stories are all related in some way to certain expectations, socio-political expectations in the public space, what is likely to happen. And I'll tell you, until about 10 years ago, say about 8 years ago, 7-8 years ago, what was likely of a future of India was always in some kind of doubt, in the sense, what way is it going to go, right? Okay. We didn't know which way it was going to go. So for example, let us take the last thing, right? When you take, say, let's take the 90s. 90s was very crucial, okay? The more uncertainty in 90s, we didn't know what way it was going to go. 91, 92, you had the economic liberalization, right? You didn't know which way India would go after economic liberalization. So several stories that if you take the kind of stories which went about in the 1990s, right? You found on one level, you had this hum aap ke hain kaun kind of thing, wealth being generated, the poor becoming servants of the rich. You had that one story, okay? That continued in several things, like I think Mohabbatein, many of these stories were the same kind. Then you have this thing of gangster thing, right? Satya. right? The gangster thing. The gangster thing is, once again, competition. Where is it going to go? Okay. If competition, this free competition is allowed, right? Free competition is allowed, would it become some kind of dog eat dog thing on the streets? That was one thing. The third thing is, if you give up internal conflict, okay, there's an internal conflict between classes is no longer possible because the market decides everything, right? Then you have this thing of patriotism. So your only enemies are outside, okay? So it's not really patriotism, okay? But you decide that the only possible enemies are outside, then you have a border, right? Okay. So the question is, there were three different stories going along. There's always been 3 or 4, and the stars are usually on these, these stories. If you take, for example, immediately after independence, 1947, you had Dilip Kumar, the uncertainties of what lies ahead. He gives these, these method performances, what you call method performance, the existential thing. Babul.
Sorry to intervene, method acting.
Method acting, yeah, method acting. In fact,
So
I probably,
that's
the only time, yeah, Dilip Kumar's early performances in Babul, Andaz, okay, and Devdas, they're the only successful method acting which has gone on in India so far is Devdas. It was Dilip Kumar's early, and he gave that up very quickly. Because that was there, India didn't know where it was going to go. It was completely open, right? So you're full of doubts. That is one thing. Then you've got thing of modernity, right? The second story is modernity. You've got Devanand. Okay, the modernity means crookedness in Bazi, right? Criminality, selling black market tickets, this kind of stuff Devanand was doing. Then you have this thing of socialism, Nehruvian socialism with Raj Kapoor, with his, with his egalitarian 3-4-20, with the Avara, this kind of stuff, right? So always there have been 3 or 4, see this uncertainty. But what has happened is after 2014, okay, with the Hindu right wing getting hold of in fact, there is no uncertainty in politics, right? Okay. So no, and then the kind of narratives which are going along, the kind of narratives.
Just to intervene and trying to decipher for our audience, what MK sir is saying that is post the BJP government, and I'm apolitical and I'm not taking any sides.
So am I, yeah.
So what Mr. Raghavendra is saying is post 2014, there is no uncertainty in power. There is no uncertainty and there is no competition as such. So we have like this big one powerful party leader leading the country. And that is one of the anthropological reasons why films have now changed.
Yeah, there is no, so the question is.
Sir, can you identify how has that changed for our audience?
In the films, for example, the only things which, there was only one narrative now. It's patriotic narrative, right? Okay. That patriot, you go look at Razi or you look at, what do you say? Or it's either patriotic or it has to be Hindu-Muslim historical thing, right? Samrat Prithviraj, right? Okay. And that earlier one, Padmavat, it's also patriotic films of some sort, Hindu patriotism of some sort, okay. Now, the question is, you can't go on and on and on with this kind of stuff, right? You can't have one story. Basically, it's the same story. India versus Pakistan. Okay, and you have this Kashmir Files is also not a humanistic film at all. It's India versus Pakistan. That's basically it.
Right? No, Kashmir Files is success. Like it is possibly the biggest hit of the year.
Yeah, correct. It is. But the point is, it will work for some time. It will work on occasion. But the point is, gradually people lose interest in this. Kashmir Files was done as a kind of humanistic thing about the Kashmir Pandits. It's fine. I accept that. The point is, it's fine. But the point is, they did it as a patriotic film. Somehow it goes the patriotic direction, right? Now, if you look, so the question is gradually running out of stories, and they don't know what the stories are. Okay, they come up with vague ideas. Actually, the people haven't figured out at all. Okay, if they haven't figured out, what exactly makes a hit, nobody knows. Okay, they've not.
Can you give an example of a film with a vague idea recently from Bollywood?
This "Oh God" itself seems to be complete nonsense. I don't know why. I've not seen it.
Thank God.
Thank God. Okay. It's the same thing, I mean, what is the other thing? No, okay, they seem to be completely without any direction, any kind of thing. Brahmastra, I've tried to, I'm not going to see these movies. I've actually looked at I can't figure out what that movie is about. Okay, what exactly is the thing? What exactly is the idea? They think that you bring in an actor and you bring in an actress, you put them there, automatically the people are going to pay money to look at them. And I'll tell you, you know, this 6-pack, 8-pack thing, no, which all these people are, you know, what they're cultivating, no. Now the point is, let's take. I'll give you. I mean, wondered about this. Okay, why is it that Brad Pitt doesn't cultivate this? He's muscular, but he doesn't have this, you know, this exercised body. He doesn't have that kind of body. He's got a tough body, okay, but he doesn't have this the exercised body. Schwarzenegger and Stallone were only good for certain kinds of roles. They can't be used as romantic heroes, right? You can't have Schwarzenegger as a romantic hero. You can't have Stallone as a romantic hero. Here, even romantic heroes build up their bodies like that, right? So gradually, it would seem that there's confusion with whether we're looking at the character in a movie or at the actor, right? So gradually, because of this building up of the actor through this body exercising and all this, gradually attention is gradually shifting to the actor rather than the character. We're not watching stories. Okay, we're not watching stories at all. We're gradually watching, okay, actors in various turns. So when Shah Rukh Khan comes and does something, we're basically watching Shah Rukh Khan. Okay, up to a particular, once upon a time, Shah Rukh Khan in Om Shanti Om. It's very amusing. He could do that. He could hold your attention. I don't think that works anymore. The Om Shanti Om thing, it doesn't work anymore. Nobody wants to see these people anymore. Okay. And they take up so much money, so much time, so much thing about this. It's not going to work.
Let me make an observation here, what you are trying to say. So friends, what MK sir is trying to put forward is that we are not seeing any new faces or new talents at the centerpiece or as the centerpiece of storytelling in commercial Hindi cinema. That's the whole point. Yes. Like there is lack of faces. There some here and there, but sir, just to give you an example, like there is this new movie coming up in January called Pathan, which is Shah Rukh Khan's film with his 6-pack, 8-pack abs, whatever that rubbish is. Now I saw that movie's trailer. I mean, you know, at times I feel that they also get their logics wrong. So Pathan is the fact that he's the most patriotic guy in the world. So he's Pathan, but he's a Muslim. So now what I see is that Shah Rukh Khan has made really rotten films in the last 10 years. Now he's an exemplar when it comes to industry, networking and making money. That's a different equation. What I've seen is actors in India, when you look at Shah Rukh Khan as a template, they just don't do acting. So I can say if you go to Hollywood, you'll find actors like even Brad Pitt, they have their own production houses. Like he has a company called Plan B, which produces a lot of films and some Oscar-winning films as well. But then he doesn't get into these multiple joint ventures of 100 other industries. He doesn't own a sports league. Then, you know, he's literally hogging the budgets of Netflix for India. Like Shah Rukh Khan's company, Red Chillies, has been, by various media reports, it was showed that it has really, you know, cornered most of Netflix's original India budgets. They would produce shows like this horrendous show called Betal. A lot of this, you know, stuff they are doing, and they are just cornering resources. So what I've seen is that rather than creating a larger pie out of which a lot can eat, most of these so-called Bollywood legends are cornering resources. So they want a bigger share of the pie, yeah, but the pie size remains the same.
It's getting smaller actually.
But well, yeah. So just to give a little 101 from my little bit of expertise in business, whatever I've learned in the last 20-22 years of running businesses and all, is that the problem is that Bollywood's entire game of this 100 crore, 200 crore, 300 crore, 400 crores, come on, let's try to convert it into some dollars. So this would be roughly around, big game would be $70-80 million, like a mega blockbuster. $80 million would be how much? 600-650 crores, right? The point is that in India, the financial victory or the financial prowess of how the film performs actually now plays an integral part in how it will play out on the box office and how it will be perceived by people. So people, especially in the North and West India, where most of Bollywood is that, okay, you know, this movie has made 100 crores. There must be something about that movie. Let's go and see. Because now this is where I feel we are really regressive, and we are not even third world. We are fourth world country. When you keep saying this is a $40 million, $50 million movie. Now you have to deliver that budget rather than that budget say, this is our big movie. It has a big vision. If somebody asks what is the budget, and then, in Brahmastra case, MK sir, is really disturbing. First, they went hammer and tongs through their official and unofficial PR machinery, Dharma Productions, Fox, that this is a $100 million franchise. So there was a ridiculous name called Astraverse. I don't know what the hell does that mean, but it's supposed to be a copy of Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Marvel movies. They wanted to create their this thing. So first they went to town telling that this is a big budget movie made at 600-700 crore rupees or $100 million, $80 million rupees. And then when the movie flopped in the first week, there is a big debate about how much money it has made. So now the lead actors are telling, the budget is 150 crores. It was not 600 crores. 600 crores was for the trilogy. So somewhere down the lane, what I feel is, MK sir, where you can shed some light, is that the narrative is no longer about content, no longer about content writing, delivery, vision, what it is. It's all about how much money it's being made. So I think that is where this financial transaction has now come between the viewer and the actor.
That's true, yeah. No, my own thing is, see, basically the actor, okay. See, the actor is not just there to play a role, right? He has to narrativize certain concerns. Okay. Point is that this the star, the film star, has to play a certain kind of generic genre kind of thing, right? You have to you look when you talk about Devanand, when you talk about Rajesh Khanna, when you talk about all these people, right? When you talk about Amitabh Bachchan, they are in what do you say? In roles which have social relevance of some sort. When I say social relevance, they are in roles which are really basically to do with the message or whatever, the public discourse which is going on in the political space, right? No, that was there for the Shah Rukh Khan once upon a time. It is no longer there. It was there for a lot of these people. It is no longer there, right? So that's a big problem, right? No, so the question is, people are going to see film stars in roles which have some kind of relevance to people, right? For example, yeah.
So I think there is a very interesting talk given by Vivek Agnihotri, the director of Kashmir Files. He said till the late 1990s, the leading man of Bollywood films was the common man. So if you look at it, like Bachchan's roles, like iconic roles like Diwar, like Kala Patthar, or his real high quality stuff, when Kalia, all these movies, for this proletarian, the guy who's trying to make his ends meet by working in mills here and there. And I really don't remember if anybody has seen the six-pack abs of Amitabh Bachchan anywhere.
Nobody has seen.
Nobody has seen.
Nobody has
seen them.